The words still echoed in my head as I walked into the bank, each step feeling heavier than the last. This surgery can't wait, Ivy. We're looking at weeks, not months. Dr. Shelton's grave expression had said more than his words.
I'm Ivy, 23, and until this morning, I thought the hardest part would be facing the surgery itself. I'd spent 3 years saving every penny, working double shifts at the diner, living in a cramped studio apartment, all to prepare for this moment. The tumor wasn't malignant, but its location made it dangerous, growing, threatening. I'm sorry, but this account appears to be empty, the bank teller said, her practiced smile faltering as she looked at her screen. That's impossible, I whispered, gripping the counter. Check again, please. She did, her fingers tapping away at the keyboard. The funds were withdrawn yesterday afternoon, all $47,000. The room started spinning. Who authorized this? Your father, Preston Clayton. He's listed as a joint account holder. Of course he was. He'd insisted on it when I opened the account at 18, claiming he needed access just in case. I'd trusted him, trusted them all. I drove to my parents' house in a daze, my hands shaking on the steering wheel. The familiar 2-story suburban home looked exactly the same, but everything felt wrong. Mom's garden, Dad's perfectly maintained lawn, the wind chimes Lindsay had bought last Christmas. The front door was unlocked. I found them in the living room, Dad reading his tablet, Mom folding laundry, acting like it was just another ordinary day. Where's my money? My voice cracked. Dad barely looked up. We had some pressing needs. Pressing needs? I stepped closer, my legs threatening to give out. I need surgery. You knew that. The money was for my surgery. Don't be dramatic, sweetie, Mom said, smoothing a pillowcase with trembling hands. We'll figure something out. Figure something out? I was screaming now, my voice foreign to my own ears. I could die without this surgery.
You're young, Dad said, finally meeting my eyes. His voice was cold, dismissive. You'll bounce back. Get another job. Start saving again. Another job? The room was tilting. I worked myself to exhaustion for 3 years. Well, maybe this will teach you responsibility, he replied. The real world isn't just about you, Ivy. We had investments to make, opportunities that couldn't wait. Mom wouldn't look at me. She just kept folding the same pillowcase over and over.
I stumbled upstairs, my body moving on autopilot. Lindsay's room was empty. She was probably at her college classes. The familiar space, with its fairy lights and inspirational wall quotes, felt like a mockery. Something caught my eye. A shopping bag, partially hidden under her bed. I pulled it out, my hands numb. The store name was embossed in gold. Inside, I found a designer handbag, the price tag still attached. $3,000.
My phone buzzed. A text from Dr. Shelton. Ivy, we need to schedule the surgery. Please call my office today. I sank to the floor, clutching the bag. Through the open door, I could hear Mom and Dad talking downstairs, their voices casual, unbothered. Preston, maybe we should... She'll get over it, Regina. Stop worrying.
I looked around Lindsay's room again. Really looked. New shoes lined up by her desk. A laptop that hadn't been there last week. Tags from high-end stores peeking out of her wastepaper basket. My sister's voice echoed in my memory from just days ago. You're so lucky, Ivy, having all that money saved up. I wish I had that kind of self-control. Now I knew why she'd said it. Why she'd been so interested in my savings lately. The shopping spree wasn't just Dad's doing. This was all of them. My own family had stolen my life savings, my surgery money. They'd looked me in the eye for weeks, knowing what they were planning. My phone buzzed again. Dr. Shelton. The risks increase significantly if we delay. Please respond. I stared at the message, then at the designer bag in my lap. The room felt airless, like all the oxygen had been sucked out. They hadn't just stolen my money. They'd stolen my chance to live. I waited in Lindsay's room until I heard her come home, her footsteps bouncing up the stairs like nothing was wrong. When she opened the door, I held up the designer bag. "Oh," her smile faltered. "You found my new... How much of my money did you spend?" She froze, mascara-rimmed eyes widening. "Ivy, I can explain." "How?" "Much."
Look, it wasn't just me. Lindsay backed away, hands raised. Dad said we deserved some nice things. He said the money was just sitting there, and you're always so careful with everything, so boring and responsible. I'm boring and responsible because I'm trying not to die. I hurled the bag at her feet. That money was for my surgery. Don't be so dramatic. You can get another job, save up again.
"The surgery needs to happen now, Lindsay. Weeks, not months. Or did Dad not mention that part when he was handing out my money?" Her lip trembled. We just wanted to be happy for once. You don't know what it's like, always being the one who can't afford things. Watching my friends live their best lives while you what? Shop at regular stores? Live in a nice house? Go to college without loans?" My voice was shaking. "Show me what else you bought." "No, Show me."
She opened her closet reluctantly. New clothes still had tags attached. Shoes, jewelry, electronics. Thousands of dollars worth. And this isn't even all of it, is it? I started pulling out receipts from her trash. Where's the rest? Mom. Mom needed some things too. And Dad had these amazing investment opportunities. Investment opportunities? I laughed, the sound harsh and foreign. Like what?
"I don't know. Some kind of business thing. He said it would double our money in months." She brightened. "See? Then we can pay you back." "When?" I thrust my phone at her, showing Dr. Shelton's messages. "When I'm dead?" Her face crumpled. "You're being unfair. We deserved a little happiness, Ivy. You're always so sensible. You'll figure something out." I stormed downstairs, finding Dad in his study. Spreadsheets covered his desk. Investment opportunities? I slapped Lindsay's receipts down. "This is what you call investments?" He straightened, eyes cold. "I don't answer to you about financial decisions. It was my money, which I had legal access to." He shuffled papers dismissively. "Besides, I've put most of it into a fantastic opportunity. Premium returns guaranteed. Show me. That's none of your business." "None of my..." I grabbed one of the papers. The logo at the top made my stomach turn. I'd seen warnings about this company online. A pyramid scheme. "Give that back." He snatched it away, face reddening. "You ungrateful little..." "Ungrateful," I was screaming again. "You stole my surgery money for a scam." Mom appeared in the doorway. "Preston, maybe we should help her." "Help her what? Learn about the real world?" He stood towering over me. "This is business, Ivy. Sometimes you have to take risks to get ahead. Something you'd understand if you weren't so pathetically cautious all the time." "Pathetically cautious?" My voice dropped to a whisper. "I'm trying to stay alive." "Oh, stop with the dramatics." He slammed his hand on the desk. "You're young. You're healthy. I have a tumor. A benign tumor. You're not dying of cancer, for God's sake." The room went silent. Mom gasped. Even Dad seemed to realize he'd gone too far. "Ivy," he started, his tone softening artificially. "I didn't mean..." "No." I backed away, looking at each of them. Mom's weak, tear-streaked face. Dad's barely concealed anger. Lindsay hovering on the stairs, clutching her designer bag. "You meant exactly what you said. All of you." My phone buzzed again. Dr. Shelton's office.
I hope those clothes were worth it, Lindsay, I said, turning away. I hope your scam pays off, Dad. I hope you all sleep well tonight. Ivy, wait. Mom reached for me. Don't touch me. Don't call me. Don't text me. I walked to the door, my legs somehow still working. You're not my family anymore. You're just the people who left me to die. I made it to my car before the tears came. Through the blur, I could see them watching from the window, not chasing after me, not begging forgiveness, just watching. My phone buzzed one more time. Dr. Shelton himself. Ivy, we need to schedule. The risks become critical after next week. I started the car. My hands steady now. They'd stolen my money, my trust, my chance at health. But they wouldn't steal my will to survive. I'm sorry, miss, but with your credit score and no collateral, we can't approve the emergency medical loan. The bank manager's face held practiced sympathy. My fourth rejection this week. I stumbled out into the sunlight, clutching my side. The pain was getting worse. My phone showed 3 missed calls from Dr. Shelton's office and a text from Aunt Sarah. So sorry, sweetie. Wish we could help. Praying for you. Prayers wouldn't pay for surgery.
I was selling everything I owned on marketplace apps when my phone lit up with an unfamiliar number. Ivy? It's Morgan. Morgan Jones from high school. The name triggered memories of lunch breaks and study sessions. We'd drifted apart after graduation, but she'd always been kind. Morgan? Hi, My voice cracked. Are you okay? I just saw Lindsay's Instagram. She's posting all these shopping hauls and luxury purchases, but someone commented about stealing your surgery money? What's going on? I told her everything. The words poured out between sobs. Those absolute monsters, Morgan breathed. Where are you right now? My apartment. I'm coming over. Text me the address. An hour later, Morgan sat at my tiny kitchen table, her laptop open. Okay, first, we're starting a GoFundMe. Your story needs to be heard. I can't. Yes, you can. We'll keep your family's names private for now, but people need to know. And while that's running, I'm helping you apply for medical grants. My mom had cancer last year. I learned every trick in the book. She worked like a woman possessed, typing furiously, making calls. I watched her create the campaign, telling my story with a passion that made me cry all over again. Now, she said, turning the laptop toward me, look at this. She pulled up Lindsay's Instagram. My sister, posing with her new purchases. The caption read, "Living my best life, blessed and grateful." The timestamp, Morgan pointed out. This was posted the day after they took your money. My hands clenched. She's grateful for stealing my... Screenshot everything, Morgan advised. Every post, every purchase. Document it all. Days passed in a blur of applications and rejections. The pain got worse. Dr. Shelton called personally. Ivy, we can't wait much longer. The tumor's location. I know. I pressed my forehead against the cool window. I'm trying everything. Then Morgan burst into my apartment, her face flushed with excitement. It's happening. The GoFundMe went viral. Some bigger accounts shared it, and... She thrust her phone at me. The numbers didn't seem real. Thousands of dollars in donations. Comments filled with support and outrage. And that's not all, Morgan continued. Remember that medical grant I told you about? You qualified. Between that and the donations, I did the math, hands shaking. It would cover the surgery. Not comfortably, but enough. The room swam. I can actually do this? You can do this. Morgan hugged me fiercely. Call Dr. Shelton. Right now. As I dialed, my phone buzzed with a text from Lindsay. OMG, Ivy. People are being so mean in my comments. Did you tell someone about the money? This is so unfair. Morgan read it over my shoulder and snorted. The audacity. Miss Clayton? Dr. Shelton's receptionist answered. The doctor's been trying to reach you. I know. I'm calling to schedule the surgery. My voice was steady. I have the money. Morgan squeezed my hand as I made the appointment. 1 week away. Just enough time. There's something else, Morgan said after I hung up. She looked uncertain for the first time. I did some digging. That investment your dad got into? It's definitely a pyramid scheme. There are forums full of people who lost money. If he used your stolen money to buy in, he did. The pieces clicked together. And he probably recruited others. That's illegal, Ivy. Really illegal. I stared at Lindsay's text again, at her complete lack of remorse, at the Instagram posts still showing her flaunting her stolen gains. Good, I said softly. That's good to know. The anesthesiologist walked in as they were prepping me for surgery the following week. Ready, Ivy? I thought of my family, probably still shopping, still investing in scams, still believing they'd face no consequences. I'm ready. As the drugs began to pull me under, I made myself a promise. This wasn't just about survival anymore. Once I recovered, they would learn exactly what it meant to face consequences. They thought they'd left me to die. Instead, they'd created something much more dangerous, a survivor with nothing left to lose. Easy now, Morgan said, helping me sit up in the hospital bed. 2 weeks post-surgery, and every movement still felt like a negotiation with my body. Look what I brought. She pulled out her laptop. Time to build your case. I'd spent my recovery time productively, directing Morgan to gather evidence while I healed. Bank statements, screenshots, receipts, each piece another nail in their coffin. Your sister's been busy, Morgan said, pulling up Instagram. Still posting luxury hauls. But look at the comments. People were asking questions now. Where did the money come from? Why was she flaunting wealth while her sister struggled? She'd made her account private, but Morgan had screenshots from before. And this arrived today. Morgan handed me an envelope. Another credit card bill, in my name, that I hadn't opened. My hands shook as I read the statement. $3,000 at a spa resort? They took out a credit card in your name, didn't they? I nodded, fury burning through the post-surgery haze. Dad insisted on helping with my first credit card application years ago. He must have kept the information. That's fraud, Morgan said, clear and simple. A knock at the door interrupted us. A man in a crisp suit entered, carrying a briefcase. Miss Ivy? I'm Yusef Black, the lawyer Morgan contacted. I straightened despite the pain. Thank you for coming. Morgan briefed me, but I'd like to hear everything from you. He sat opening his briefcase. Every detail matters. I told him everything. The joint account, the stolen surgery money, the fraudulent credit card, the pyramid scheme. He took notes, his expression growing grimmer. They left a clear paper trail, he said finally. The credit card fraud alone is criminal. The pyramid scheme involvement adds another layer. Civilly, we have an excellent case for the stolen funds. But criminally, I pressed. Criminal charges would require their admission of intent or more direct proof they meant to permanently deprive you, not just borrow the money. He made air quotes around borrow. They could claim they always intended to repay you. They left me to die. I believe you, but courts need evidence, not just truth. He leaned forward. However, we can use the threat of criminal charges as leverage. Combined with the civil suit and the pyramid scheme information, I want them to suffer, I said quietly. Like I suffered. Legal action is one tool, Yusef said carefully, but sometimes the most effective consequences are personal, social, financial. Morgan pulled up another screen. Speaking of financial, look what I found. Your dad's been busy with that pyramid scheme. He's not just a victim, he's been recruiting. These posts on local Facebook groups. I studied the screenshots. Dad, promising guaranteed returns, easy money, using his respectable reputation to lure others in. Save everything, Yusef advised. Document patterns. Build a timeline. He handed me his card. Call me when you're stronger.
We'll formalize the strategy.
After he left, Morgan helped me sort through more papers. A statement caught my eye. They used my credit to take out store cards too, I whispered. Look at these charges. They weren't just stealing my surgery money. They were trying to bleed me dry. They thought you'd never find out, Morgan said. Or they didn't care if you did. My phone buzzed. A text from Mom. Sweetie, heard you had the surgery. Why didn't you tell us? We're family. I showed Morgan, who swore colorfully. The audacity. They steal your money, nearly kill you, and then act hurt that you didn't include them? They're not my family anymore. I set the phone down. Family doesn't try to kill you for a shopping spree. What's the plan? I looked at the evidence spread across my hospital bed. Bank statements, social media posts, credit card bills, pyramid scheme receipts, a paper trail of their betrayal. First, I heal, I said. Then, I build my case. Every detail, every charge, every lie. I picked up Yusef's card. And when I'm ready, when everything is perfect, they won't know what hit them, Morgan finished. No, I agreed. They thought stealing my money was consequence-free. They thought I'd just roll over and die. Instead, I smiled, and for the first time since the surgery, I felt truly strong. Instead, I'm going to teach them exactly what consequences feel like. Morgan squeezed my hand. They have no idea what's coming, do they? No, I said, starting to organize the papers into neat piles. But they will. Oh, they will. The pain in my side throbbed, a constant reminder of their betrayal. But now it felt less like weakness and more like fuel. Every twinge, every ache, was just another reason to make sure they paid. In full. With interest. Your credit score's recovering nicely, the financial advisor said, reviewing my report 3 months later. The fraud alert we placed helped immensely. I'd moved into a modest apartment across town, found a better-paying job, and systematically rebuilt my life. No contact with my family, not a single response to their increasingly desperate messages. Morgan burst into my apartment that evening, clutching her phone. You won't believe what I just heard from Sarah at the salon.
I looked up from my laptop, where I'd been documenting another unauthorized credit card charge. What? Your dad's sure thing investment? The pyramid scheme? It's imploding. People are losing everything. A cold smile spread across my face. Really? The company's under investigation. Your dad convinced half the country club to invest. They're all after him now. She paused. And that's not all. Remember that anonymous tip I sent to the credit card company about the fraud? They're investigating? Better. They've frozen all the accounts and are demanding immediate repayment. I leaned back, savoring the news. How did you hear about this? Lindsay's been crying to anyone who'll listen at her part-time job. Apparently they can't even make minimum payments anymore. Morgan pulled up Instagram. Look, she's selling her designer stuff online, at massive losses. The posts were desperate. Mint condition, barely used, need gone, ASAP. Your mom's been calling around too, trying to get loans, Morgan continued. No one's biting. Their credit is destroyed. I opened my laptop, pulling up a carefully crafted email. Perfect timing. What's that? An anonymous tip to that investment forum you found, about Dad's involvement in recruiting for the pyramid scheme, including screenshots of his posts promising guaranteed returns. Brutal. Morgan grinned. Send it. I clicked send, then opened another document. And this goes to the local Facebook group where he found most of his victims. Just making sure everyone knows exactly who convinced them to invest. They're going to crucify him. That's the point. I closed the laptop. How's the house situation? Foreclosure notice went up yesterday. They've got 30 days. I nodded, remembering the careful calls I'd made to their mortgage company, expressing concerns
about their ability to pay based on public records of their pyramid scheme involvement. My phone buzzed. An email from Mom. "Ivy, darling, I know we haven't spoken, but I was hoping we could meet. There are things we need to discuss. We're your family. Please respond." Morgan read it over my shoulder. "They're getting desperate. Good." I opened my filing cabinet, pulling out the thick folder of evidence I'd compiled. "Everything's ready. Youssef approved all the documents last week." "You're really going to do this?" "They're drowning in debt. The house is nearly gone. Dad's reputation is in tatters. Lindsay's precious lifestyle is crumbling." I smiled. "Now's the perfect time to introduce the lawsuit. They'll beg for mercy." "Like I begged them?" I touched my surgery scar. "They left me to die for shopping sprees and scam investments. Let them experience what real desperation feels like." My phone buzzed again. "Lindsay this time. Ivy, please. We need help. Everything's falling apart." Then Dad. "We need to talk. Now. Family meeting." "Look at them scramble," Morgan said. "What's your next move?" I walked to the window, looking out at the sunset. "I'll let them stew for a few more days. Let the foreclosure notice sink in. Let Dad's former friends keep hounding him about their lost investments. Let Lindsay sell a few more precious handbags." "And then?" "Then?" I turned back to Morgan, my voice cold and clear. "Then I'll let them come to me. Let them think there's hope. Let them beg." "And you'll show them all the evidence you've gathered?" "Every receipt. Every fraudulent charge. Every screenshot of Lindsay bragging about her shopping sprees with my money. Every post of Dad luring people into his scam." I picked up the folder. They thought they could steal my life and face no consequences. Time to show them how wrong they were. Another text from Mom. "Please, Ivy. We're desperate." I didn't respond. Instead, I pulled out Youssef's latest draft of the lawsuit, reviewing the details one more time. Everything was perfect. Everything was ready. "They're going to come knocking soon," Morgan said. "Let them come." I closed the folder. "I'm ready." The sun set outside my window, casting long shadows across my apartment. In the darkness, I smiled. They wanted to talk? Fine. But this time, I'd be the one setting the terms. And mercy wasn't on the agenda. The knocking started at 9:47 p.m. Desperate rapid-fire thuds that echoed through my apartment. "Ivy, please, we know you're in there." Mom's voice, shrill with panic. I took my time walking to the door, checking the peephole. All three of them stood there, shadows of their former selves. Dad's pressed shirts replaced by a wrinkled polo. Mom's perfectly styled hair now limp and graying. Lindsay's designer clothes swapped for worn basics. I opened the door but blocked the entrance. "Yes? Baby, please." Mom reached for me. I stepped back. "We need to talk, as a family." "Family?" I laughed. "That's what you're calling yourselves now?" "Don't be difficult," Dad snapped, then caught himself. "I mean, please, can we come in? Just to talk?" I studied them. Dad's forced humility. Mom's trembling hands. Lindsay's tear-streaked face. "Fine." I stepped aside. Living room. "Don't touch anything." They shuffled in, taking in my new apartment. Small but neat. Organized. Survivor's territory. "You look," Mom started. "Alive," I finished. "Despite your best efforts." "That's not fair," Lindsay burst out. "We never meant to." "To what? Leave me to die? Steal my money? Commit credit card fraud?" Dad stepped forward, hands raised placatingly. "Listen, we made mistakes, but we're family. We need your help." "My help?" I sat in my armchair, leaving them to crowd onto the couch. "With what?"
"The house," Mom whispered. "We're losing everything. Your father's friends are threatening lawsuits over the investment." "The pyramid scheme," I corrected. "I was misled," Dad protested. They promised guaranteed returns. Like you promised all those people you recruited? I pulled out my phone, reading from the screen. Guaranteed 300% returns. Don't miss this opportunity. Trust me, I've done the research. His face paled. How did you?
I have everything, Dad. Every post, every promise, every person you scammed using my stolen money as seed capital. We just need a loan, Lindsay cut in. Just enough to save the house. Once Dad's new business plan. Another scam? It's legitimate, he snapped. If you just listen, like you listened when I begged you not to take my surgery money? Silence fell. Heavy. Suffocating. How much? I asked quietly. What? How much do you need? Hope flickered across their faces. Mom leaned forward. 50,000 would save the house. Give us time to... Interesting number. I stood walking to my filing cabinet. Almost exactly what you stole from me, plus the fraudulent credit cards. We didn't steal, Dad began. I slammed the folder down on the coffee table. Bank statements, credit card bills, social media posts, pyramid scheme recruitment evidence. I spread them out one by one. Every single thing you did to me, documented and dated. They stared at the papers, blood draining from their faces. Lindsay, I pointed to a screenshot. Here's you bragging about your shopping sprees. Timestamp the day after you took my money. Mom, here's your spa charges on the fraudulent credit card. And Dad, I smiled coldly. Here's every person you scammed, with proof you knew it was a pyramid scheme before you recruited them. You wouldn't, he whispered. I already have. I pulled out my phone again. That investment forum you used, they're very interested in your role. The credit card company's fraud department has everything they need. And Yusuf, my lawyer, has this lovely lawsuit ready to file. Please, Mom sobbed. We're your family. No, I stood. You lost that right when you chose designer handbags over my life. What do you want? Dad's voice was hollow. Everything. I pulled out another document. Yusuf drew up a repayment agreement. Every penny you stole, plus interest and damages. You'll sign it tonight. Or what? Or tomorrow morning, every person you scammed gets proof of your involvement. The credit card company files criminal charges, and this lawsuit goes public. Lindsay was crying openly now. Mom had collapsed into herself. Dad looked like a cornered animal. You're destroying us, he said. No. I touched my surgery scar. You did that yourselves. I'm just making sure you face the consequences. The knocking had started at 9:47 p.m. By 10:15 they were broken. By 10:30 they were signing papers with trembling hands. Get out, I said when they finished. They shuffled toward the door, defeated shadows of their former selves. Ivy, Mom turned back. We're sorry. No, I met her eyes. You're just sorry you got caught. I closed the door on their faces, their desperate whispers fading down the hallway. Phase 1 was complete. Now for the real punishment to begin. The next morning I sat with Morgan at my kitchen table, watching it all unfold on social media. Look, she pointed to her phone. The investment forum post is blowing up. Everyone's sharing their stories about how your dad recruited them. I sipped my coffee, scrolling through the comments. Lost my retirement fund. Convinced my whole church group to invest. He promised it was guaranteed. And here, Morgan switched screens. Lindsay's selling the last of her designer stuff. 80% off, and still no takers. My phone buzzed. Yusuf. The credit card company filed the fraud report this morning. Police will probably contact them today. Right on cue, Dad called. I let it ring. The house listing just went public, Morgan said. Below market value, desperate seller. Mom texted, please call us. We can't survive this. Delete. Lindsay. They're saying Daddy might go to jail. Delete. Your father convinced me to invest my daughter's college fund. A new comment appeared on the investment forum. Said he'd done all the research, it was completely safe. I posted the screenshots of Dad's recruitment messages. Within minutes, the comments exploded. He knew it was a scam. Look at these promises. My lawyer will be in touch. The doorbell rang. Morgan checked the camera feed on her phone. It's your dad. And, is that a police officer? I smiled. Right on schedule. Opening the door revealed Dad, ashen-faced, standing next to a stern-looking officer. Miss? The officer stepped forward. We're investigating some credit card fraud complaints. Do you have a moment? Of course. I retrieved my folder. I've been gathering evidence for months. Dad's face crumpled as I handed over the documentation. Credit card statements, loan applications, his signature, forged on multiple documents. You're really doing this? He whispered. No, Dad. You did this. I'm just showing everyone the truth. The officer flipped through the papers. This is extensive. We'll need you to come down to the station to make a formal statement. I'll have my lawyer meet me there. Dad reached for me as I stepped into the hallway. Ivy, please. They're talking about criminal charges. I could go to prison. Should have thought about that before stealing my surgery money. But we're family. I turned to him. Funny how that only matters when you need something from me. My phone buzzed again. Mom, hysterical. The bank called. We have 48 hours to pay or they're seizing everything. I showed the officer. More evidence of their financial crimes. They stole my surgery money too. Left me to die while they spent it on luxury items and pyramid schemes. Dad's face went from ashen to gray. The officer's expression hardened. Sir, we'll need you to come with us too. Back in my apartment, Morgan was still monitoring the fallout. Your mom's calling everyone she knows begging for loans. No one's touching them. Their reputation is destroyed. Good. Lindsay posted a crying video. Says she's dropping out of college because they can't afford it anymore. She can get loans, like I had to. My phone lit up. A local news number. Hello? Is this Ivy? We're doing a story on the pyramid scheme that's affected so many local families. Would you be willing to comment on your father's involvement? I smiled. Actually, I have documentation you might be interested in. By evening, it was everywhere. Local news websites ran the story. Social media exploded with shared screenshots and angry comments. Dad's business contacts publicly distanced themselves. Mom called again, sobbing. They're pressing charges. Your father might go to jail. How could you do this to us? The same way you left me to die for a shopping spree. We're losing everything. I almost lost my life. Lindsay sent a final text. I hate you. You've destroyed our family, I replied. My first direct response to any of them. No, you destroyed our family the moment you chose greed over my life. I'm just making sure you face the consequences. Morgan touched my arm. Are you okay? I looked at the chaos unfolding across multiple screens. Dad facing criminal charges. Mom watching their social standing crumble. Lindsay's privileged world collapsing. I'm perfect, I said, and meant it. My phone buzzed one last time. Youssef, police want to interview your mother and sister tomorrow. The DA is considering conspiracy charges for the credit card fraud. I set the phone down, a deep sense of satisfaction settling over me. They'd thought they could steal my life and walk away. Instead, I'd taken everything from them, just like they'd tried to take everything from me. Guilty on all counts. The judge's words echoed through the courtroom. I watched Dad's shoulders slump as the full sentence was read. 5 years for fraud, theft, and financial crimes. His expensive suit replaced by a worn blazer from a thrift store. All they could afford now. Mom sobbed in the gallery. Lindsay wasn't even there. She'd taken a job as a waitress 2 towns over, trying to escape the shame. Outside the courthouse, Morgan squeezed my hand. How do you feel? Before I could answer, Mom rushed up to us. mascara streaking her face. "Are you happy now? Your father's going to prison." "He put himself there," I said calmly. "Just like you put yourselves in debt. Just like Lindsay put herself in that waitressing job. We've lost everything. The house, our reputation, our savings. Like I almost lost my life." She flinched. "We've suffered enough." "No." I met her eyes. "You've suffered exactly what you deserve. Every penny you stole, every fraud you committed, every person you hurt. There are consequences. What do you want from us?" "Nothing." I smiled. "I have everything I need. A successful career, true friends, and the satisfaction of watching karma collect its debt." "We're still making the monthly payments you demanded," she whispered. "We can barely afford food. Should have thought about that before spending my surgery money on designer handbags." My phone buzzed. A text from Lindsay. "Dad's going to jail, and it's all your fault." I showed it to Mom. "Still blaming me, I see. Not one of you has actually apologized. You're just sorry you got caught." Morgan tugged my arm. "Come on. Your speaking engagement starts in an hour." Mom's eyes narrowed. "Speaking engagement?"
I share my story at fraud prevention seminars now, I said, warning others about family financial abuse, teaching them how to protect themselves. I paused. "Your case study is particularly effective." She stumbled back like I'd slapped her. "You're profiting from our destruction?" "No. I'm helping others avoid what you did to me. Every person I help is another family saved from people like you." Morgan checked her watch. "We should go. The Anti-Fraud Coalition is expecting you."
"Anti-Fraud Coalition?" Mom's voice cracked. "I'm their newest board member," I said. "Turns out my experience makes me uniquely qualified to help prevent financial abuse." We turned to leave. Mom called after me. "We're still your family." I stopped, turned back. "No, you're just the people who taught me what family isn't supposed to be." In the car, Morgan pulled up social media. "Lindsay's restaurant fired her. Someone shared the news story about your family's fraud. She can find another job, like I had to. Your mom's house cleaning business isn't doing well either. No one trusts them anymore." I touched my surgery scar, now a faint line under my shirt. They destroyed their own lives. I just made sure they couldn't hide from it. At the conference center, I took the stage. Hundreds of faces looked back at me, eager to learn. "My name is Ivy," I began, "and my story starts with a betrayal, but it ends with justice." I told them everything. The theft, the fraud, the consequences. In the audience, people took notes, nodded, some wiped tears. "Financial abuse by family members often goes unreported," I continued. "We're taught that family means forgiveness. That blood is thicker than water." I paused. "But sometimes, family are the ones who hurt us most. And sometimes, justice is more important than forgiveness." Afterward, people lined up to share their stories, to thank me, to learn how to protect themselves. My phone buzzed one last time. A text from an unknown number. "I saw your speech online. My parents were pressuring me to give them access to my accounts. After hearing your story, I said no. Thank you." I smiled, showing it to Morgan. "Worth it?" she asked. I looked around at the people still waiting to talk to me. Thought of Dad in his prison cell, Mom cleaning houses for minimum wage, Lindsay starting over with nothing. "They thought stealing my money would have no consequences," I said. "Instead, they lost everything." And I gestured to the crowd, the speaking engagement banner, my healthy, successful life. "I gained something much more valuable than money." "What's that?" "Power, truth, justice." I straightened my jacket. "And the knowledge that every person I help is another victory over what they tried to do to me." Morgan grinned. "Ready for the next session?" I stepped toward the stage again, my voice strong, my purpose clear. Always. They'd tried to destroy me. Instead, they'd created their own destruction. and I'd turned their betrayal into a legacy of protection for others. That was the sweetest revenge of all.